What would happen if you stopped eating for 72 hours, 3 days? Out of all the things you can do for your health, prolonged fasting is at the very top of your list. The feeling you're going to get from it is almost euphoric, a state of bliss. A lot of people do it to increase their spirituality and their mental state. Prolonged fasting is the only way to achieve deep cleaning, turning junk in your body to new cells. The other thing that I really like about prolonged fasting is that you're using fasting for exercising willpower. Willpower is the ability to remain in control of your body. I mean, think about an average person. Their whole life, they're not in the driver's seat with their food. When you actually say no to your body and you really start fasting, despite the smell of food, despite all the visual foods, your ability to say no gives you incredible power. This makes it easy to strengthen this willpower and stick with it a little bit longer than you normally would. Let's shift gears to cancer for a second. Just think about the biggest risk factor for cancer. It's age. As you get older, your risk for cancer goes up. Why? Because of the accumulated damage in your cells. Plus, as you age, you get more inflammation. You get less oxygen. Cancer tends to grow into areas of inflammation and low oxygen. Fasting is the most potent thing to reduce inflammation. There is some data to show that cancer cells can live on sugar, certain amino acids, as well as ketones, but not the ketones that come from fasting. Ketones are not just about an alternative fuel. They help your brain. Your brain prefers them. Ketones activate genes that extend your life. If you do regular prolonged fasting, I really believe that you can totally prevent getting cancer. This is why I recommend doing a 72-hour fast every single month. Prolonged fasting will also take insulin and really bring that way down. If we can keep that hormone low, your body can't grow a tumor. It's in a recycling, cleaning, cleansing mode. If we increase more oxygen, we can also reduce the risk of cancer, and that would be exercise, right? So this is why it's so important to also, while you're doing this prolonged fasting, go on long walks, get a lot of oxygen. Growth hormone also majorly goes up when you're doing fasting. Growth hormone helps you burn fat, but it also helps you preserve your muscles. Now let's switch to some practical tips with fasting. 1 or 2 days before the fast, you want to increase your fat to make it really easy to transition from glucose to actual burning fat. You also want to be doing intermittent fasting for a while before you try a prolonged fast. The other thing that's really important is electrolytes. I'm talking about potassium, magnesium, and sodium chloride in the form of sea salts. Supplements, and especially electrolytes, will not break your fast. One of the biggest problems with people that do prolonged fasting and don't feel very good is they're not having enough sea salt. And so they get keto flu, cramps, weakness in the muscle. How do you get this sea salt when you're fasting if you're not eating anything? You're going to have to take 1 to 1.5 to even 2 teaspoons of sea salt. Take a little bit and dissolve it in water. I might add lemon to it. I might also add sea salt to my coffee. The other really important thing is once you're done with this fast, when you transition into a meal, do not make this mistake. Don't start consuming anything sweet or carbohydrate. What you want to consume is just a little bit of sauerkraut, fermented vegetables, an egg, or some bone broth is really good, because sometimes all it takes is a little bit of protein to get you back to where you need to be. Wait for a few hours and eat a little bit more. Your digestive system has gone to sleep and you have to wake it up slowly. You don't want to wake it up with carbohydrates. The reason why people don't feel good when they do prolonged fast is either they don't have enough sea salt, or they haven't adapted to it gradually beforehand by doing regular intermittent fasting, or they just need more protein. You may have heard this story in another video, but I had this gentleman who reached out to me and he said, you might want to do a video on my story. He was very, very depressed. He was suicidal. He wanted to kill himself. So he locked himself in his room for a few days and just wanted to starve himself to death. Laid in his bed and just said, I'm not going to eat or drink anything. By day 3, he was feeling incredible. Happy, mind was working. He's like,
well, why do I feel so good?
So he goes on his computer and he discovered the benefits of fasting from my video, and it changed his whole life around. Another thing that can happen is if you have a tendency to get gallstones, you may generate a bit more bile sludge. The antidote is something called TUDCA, which is a very special type of bile salt that keeps the bile thinned and flowing through the ducts. Take 2 TUDCA twice a day. If you're pregnant, if you're lactating, I don't recommend you do prolonged fasting. I also did a video on a group of, I think it was 5 to 7 people. 1 or 2 of these people had diabetes type 1, and they wanted to do an experiment where they did exercise. They ran 20 miles every single day for 5 days in a row. They wanted to prove that a diabetic type 1 could handle doing 5 marathons in a row. But that wasn't the interesting thing about this story. It's that they not only ran 20 miles a day for 5 days, they also fasted. Yes, fasted for 5 days. What's really interesting is that they didn't get a lot of soreness. Why? Because the anti-inflammatory effects from the fasting sky high. I just want to put this out there just to show you, you can actually exercise and also fast at the same time, even if someone has a health problem. But of course, I'm not recommending it unless you check with your doctor. You now know the power of fasting in this part 2. But if you have not seen my part 1 yet, you will be missing some really key points. In part 1, I talk about what to eat after fasting, what to expect, how to get through the barriers, how to get all the benefits from this 3-day fasting. And for that information, watch this video right now. This one right here. Yeah, click it. That one. You got it. Hey, before you leave, I just wanted to give you a little quick history on some of the books that I wrote. This was one of the first books. It's called Dr. Berg Body Shapes. It was my attempt at writing about body types. What was very interesting about this book is I actually did all the images myself. Don't ask me why. They look actually not quite as professional as some of the images that I have in the new book. But anyway, this is my first attempt right here called Dr. Berg's Body Shape Diets. And then I wrote a book more extensive called The 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't even have a copy anymore, actually, because it's outdated. The next book, I put about 1,000 hours into this one right here called The New Body Type Guide. Major updates on the body types. I put a lot of energy into this. It has professional images, graphics, all sorts of things. Now, the problem with this book is it doesn't really describe what this is really about. Body types are only a small portion of what's in this book. And that's why I changed the name to the Healthy Keto Plan, okay? If you happen to have this book, you don't really need this book because there's only very, very minor updates. But if you don't have this, you need to get this one right here. This book goes into every single detail that you would ever want to know about. It goes into the 7 principles of fat burning. It goes into hormones, the body types, the basic keto plan. It goes into intermittent fasting. I talk about the 10 fat-burning triggers and blockers and fat-burning strategies with a lot of details in every single chapter. I go into body issues that interfere with losing weight. There's very few people that just have a weight problem. They have a lot of body issues, whether it's sleeping problems, stress problems, inflammation, menopause. I cover that extensively in this book. Then I talk about how to get rid of stress, and I show you a technique. Then I get into exercising. And then I have a lot of really good recipes in this book as well. So this is a good reference guide. On my website, if you get this book, you get this one free. It's called Healthy Keto and Intermittent Fasting. This is the shortcut, quick guide to this book. And the reason I created this book is to have you, within 45 minutes, learn how to do keto, okay, in intermittent fasting, exactly what you need to do. Then you can fill in the blanks with this book right here. So right now I'm doing a special. If you get this book, you get this one totally free, or you can go to Amazon and get these individually. So I just want to clarify the difference between this book and this updated one right here. If you don't have this, you need to get this right here. That way you can get the exact correct information to do it healthily.